everyone, this is Doxy Mom and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't done so already, I greatly appreciate if you hit that little red subscribe button. You can ring the bell for notifications, and if you like this video, just give it a thumbs up. Well, Miss Peanut and I, and she's very sleepy, we're going to bring you the news in 15 minutes or less, so let's get started. Now, 17 has been posting, and he brings up the investigations into Burisma in post 3607, which I reported on yesterday, where there was an article in Zero Hedge and the Gateway Pundit, and I linked both of those articles to that video. Then Twitter, well, they suspended Breaking News Live's Twitter account after tweeting this: breaking news, head of Ukrainian Burisma gas company indicted, Hunter Biden named accepting millions more from slush fund. So, here we go again, guys. Illegal censorship by the deep state Satanists running right over our First Amendment rights. So, now, my video from yesterday, it described the money laundering and how $7.4 billion was funneled through Franklin Templeton Investments, which has ties to the Democrat Party. Now, what I didn't mention to you yesterday was that the son of the Templeton's founder, John Templeton Jr., well, he was one of Obama's major campaign donors. And Thomas Donnellan, a major shareholder in Franklin Templeton Investments, he was Obama's national security advisor. So, I am praying that they don't take down my video on this blatant corruption like YouTube did when I mentioned the alleged whistleblower's name. And I guess time will tell, and I'll just leave a link to the qmap.pub. Now, you'll also find that 17 tells us that Ukraine was the single largest donor to the Clinton Foundation. Well, maybe that's one of the reasons the Clinton Foundation has lost nearly $50 million over the past 3 years. Then, in post 3612, 17 says, Chairman Graham, it's time. Senate was the target. Now, what I believe he's saying, and I could be wrong, guys, is that the impeachment hearings are going to go over to the Senate, and the Senate will not impeach our wonderful president. Now, in Thursday hearings, Mr. Holmes and Fiona Hill testified, both never-Trumpers in my opinion, and Republican Congressman Turner, well, he brought up an excellent point. He said, you want to be the laughingstock of history because the President of the United States didn't take a meeting. Oh, please, dear God, end quote. Then, Republican Congressman Turner mentions what Mr. Holmes heard when Ambassador Sondland told President Trump on a phone call, "Sir, he loves your behind and he'll do anything you want," talking about President Zelensky. So, Congressman Turner tells Mr. Holmes that this had nothing to do with the subject matter of any of these hearings, and your interest for protecting Ukraine are very dubious when you embarrass President Zelensky by making statements that you didn't have to make. You embarrassed President Zelensky because you know he got this question. He got asked this question in his own country, and people are hearing that statement and thinking it is true, and it is totally dubious for you to do that. Now, I am so glad that Congressman Turner brought up that point, so thank you, sir. Now, Congressman Wenstrup, he brought up some great points. First, he says the impeachment inquiry was announced by Schiff before the whistleblower complaint was even out. Second, why the lawyer for the whistleblower, you know that Mr. Zaid, he announced that the coup to impeach the president was announced right after the president won in 2016. And third, he said he knows it hurts after losing an election, and as Americans, we usually get over it. Well, the Democrats, they haven't gotten over it yet, and they are terrified that their evil deeds are going to be exposed, and the whole world's going to see that, and they could possibly even be going to jail, because remember, there's still 134,000 federally sealed indictments just waiting. Now, Congressman Winstrup, he goes on to say that he has seen hatred, and he knows hatred blinds people. Now, I've been in war, I've studied war, and coups create division, and it's time for this Democrat coup to end. Well, guys, he's right. But is it going to end? Well, I doubt it, because the evil Democrats are literally fighting for their lives. And Republican Congressman Stewart, he compares these hearings to a concert where these Intelligence Committee proceedings that we've been watching on television are the warm-up band, you know, that nobody even knows the name of, never heard of them. But the main band will be the U.S. Senate, where there won't be any secret testimonies. There won't be dishonest leadership with the chairman who refuses to let us ask appropriate questions or deny a defense. Because where in the world does the prosecution get to present their case, but the defense doesn't? Well, Mr. Stewart, only in Adam Schiff's kangaroo court. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm so glad that these proceedings are over. This will go down in history, and I just pray all these Democrats in these proceedings will be voted out, because surely the American people can see how this blatant waste of time and taxpayer money is hurting our country. And then Nancy Pelosi, she stated Thursday that the USMCA, you know, the free trade agreement between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, which would really boost our economy and help all kinds of people, well, Nancy says it won't be signed this year. So, thanks a lot, Nancy. Moving on. Now, Cheryl Atkinson, who tweeted this on Thursday about the hearings. One of the strangest phenomena the last few days is those who insist Russia, not Ukraine, interfered in our elections, as if it's impossible to be both. One article documents it quite well, has first-hand accounts, and has never been discredited. And then there's an article that is entitled, that's linked to this, it's entitled, Ukrainian Efforts to Sabotage Trump Backfire. Kiev officials are scrambling to make amends with the president-elect after quietly working to boost Clinton. Now, Cheryl, she has another tweet. The idea that some of our top experts on Ukraine are close-minded to this info, and at least one said he was entirely unaware of it, but we're making important decisions, could be considered disturbing. And it certainly could be, Cheryl. So that blows up Andrew McCabe's theory that the Ukraine interference narrative was a fictitious theory. And McCabe, well, we all know he's a liar and lost a job because of it. And I'm guessing more trouble awaits Andy McCabe in the near future. And I'll leave a link to the town hall article and tweet so you can go over there and read that. Now, let's go across the pond and talk about Prince Andrew. Now, The Guardian, they're reporting, and I'll link it. Prince Andrew, well, apparently he had a plan. He was going to do an interview with the BBC and put a stop to speculation about the nature of his connections to convicted child offender Jeffrey Epstein. The unraveling of the strategy began immediately after the interview ended. Andrew was pleased with his performance, but when lines from the interview began reaching journalists' inboxes Friday evening, they were astonished by what they read. By Saturday morning, the story was dominating the news agenda. The headlines were devastating for Andrew, and the interview, it hadn't even been aired yet. But by Sunday evening, Andrew was facing calls to speak to the FBI from lawyers representing 10 of the Epstein's victims. Well, now, the backlash continued into this week as numerous organizations began to cut ties with the prince. And you can read about it in the article that I'm going to link. But there was strong criticism of Andrew's attitude towards the victims because Andrew did not express any sympathy towards them. So the queen, she had no other choice but to have her son step back from public duties. Well, if you ask me, her son needs to be in jail for molesting minors, but that's just my opinion. Now, I'm going to leave you with a quote from Abraham Lincoln. "We, the people, are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the men who would pervert the Constitution." Well, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, this is Doxy Mom, and God bless you all.